Yo, welcome to another episode of Gaming with your boy, Mr. C. And guys, today we unmask Little Nightmares 2 in our official review.
Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C.
Little Nightmares 2 is the sequel to the 2017 game Little Nightmares. And I'll be dropping an Indie Tuesday review of that next week, but we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the sequel, Tarzar's newest project, a team that also worked on Little Big Planet, and their influence is definitely shown in this game. So let's start with none other than the story. Alright guys, Little Nightmare 2 starts off with you playing as Mono. You awaken in the woods in the middle of the night from this reoccurring nightmare you keep having of you staring down this hallway, this kaleidoscopic hallway. It's twirling, it's spinning. And at the very end of this hallway, a corridor. Woo-hoo, that's some chills down my spine. I got goosers on the old epidermis. But at the end of this corridor was a door with this eyeball on it. And this is a reoccurring nightmare that keeps waking you. You wake up in these woods, you stumble through them as you come across a shack. And within the shack is Six, the main character from the first Little Nightmares. You do rescue her. You bring her to freedom as you guys fight through the next 5 stages, each being about an hour long. Your relationship unfolds, and not one word is ever spoken between the two of you. It's these little moments of you guys holding hands or pulling each other to safety. And this is a good story, and it's told nothing but through animation and moments. Guys, graphically this game is actually quite beautiful. It's the little details, pun intended here, that really make this game pop. It's the things like the desk, the bookshelves, the mattresses, the swinging of the light, or even the rain. It's some of the best details in the business. My one flaw with the graphics are some of the enemies, their faces are very bland or cheesy looking. The lack of color in this game is actually great at a lot of times, but it just really misses a splash of color to really bring to full life those graphics. However, they did a great job of building this little odd, weird world with such great charm. And I like how they played more into the oddities of it than that jump or scare horror. So great job, guys. Gameplay wise, this game's a lot like Unravel. Maybe more like Unravel 2, as you do have a companion in this game, and you guys have to work in tandem, like that bicycle, you know, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But you do have to work in tandem, so it's definitely not like babysitting, so I don't want you to feel like that. You can 86 that thought, because you're not babysitting. You're actually going to go through these levels like the school and the hospital, trying to solve these different puzzles. Some of the puzzles might be as simple as trying to find out which wall to break down. Some of it might actually be you have to find these different stuffed animals and x-ray them in the hospital to find out which one has the key in it. And then you take it down to the infirmary, burn it, and go get the key. It's those puzzles that I absolutely loved in this game. The other part of the game that I didn't like as much is you're going to have these parts of these games where you're running from these different oddities, whether you're actually in a chase-like scene like in the old school Crash Bandicoot, or you're in the scene kind of like the Mario where you got to look at them, the ghost stops, where you have this flashlight, and that's fine. I enjoyed those moments. The problem is I would have enjoyed a sprinkle of it, like it was a cupcake. Boop, 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 boop. Unfortunately, 6 rooms later and I'm still doing it. It was just a little too much, and it became a little frustrating for me. Fortunately, the puzzle part actually outweighed the other part of the game, and I didn't mind the chasing and all that. I just wish that it was done a little more sparingly. Control-wise, I actually did play this game on the Stadia to kind of give my Stadia some love, and hey, it was free on the Stadia. I didn't really have any issues with the controls other than 2 minor things. One of them, in those flashlight moments, it was kind of hard to, like, if you duck down using the flashlight, they're going to snatch you up and eat you for breakfast. Like, nah, nah. And the other part of it was, you're going to use this weapon sometimes, and it's just so sluggish. Now, keep in mind, you're a little tiny guy with a big old hammer, but still, it was a mechanical issue for your boy, Mr. C. Overall, my final thoughts on Little Nightmares 2. I do commend the studio for actually righting some of those wrongs they made in the first one. For instance, they didn't steer head first into this weird oddity world. They just kind of let those things be versus saying, hey, look at me, I'm Johnny Depp, I'm really weird. And so I definitely do appreciate that. The graphics and the sound actually did a great job of transporting me into these Little Nightmares. And the puzzles and these little moments between Six and Mono turn this nightmare into a dream. And for that, I give this game a 7.75 out of 10. And at $30, it's not a bad deal, right?
Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C.